Բարև ձեզ։ Այսօր կզրուցեմ Hovnanian ընտանեկան հիմնադրամի փոխնախագահ Gorr Sahakiani հետ. Mr. Sahakian, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
You're the third generation of the Hovnanian legacy, and now also its vice president. When did it first hit you that this was yours and your responsibility to carry this legacy forward?
Well, growing up, my father's from Yerevan, so every year I would come to Armenia, visit my tatik and my family here. And so as I've grown, I've seen the country of Armenia grow as well over the past 30 years. And seeing my grandfather being very passionate, both in business and in philanthropy, was very, very inspiring. And there are a few instances in which, it really impacted me, his dedication to Armenia. One of them being on the last night that he was with us, my aunt Adil Hovnanian and my mom were by his side. And he said to them, do not be the generation that sees the birth and the death of a nation. And that really impacted me to do more and really dedicate myself to help both Armenia and our foundation grow its impact here.
And you were born in Armenia or
in the United States?
Mm-hmm.
But before I was 1 year old, I was on the plane to Yerevan.
And is there a story or moment from your grandparents' philanthropic journey that inspires you sometimes or helps you when you need to find some purposes, some inspiration in initiatives or goals of the foundation?
A couple stories about my grandfather 30 plus years ago when Armenia was devastated by the earthquake and the first war. He immediately dropped everything he was doing in the United States, came to Armenia, and tried to help out any way he could. During the earthquake, he built a manufacturing facility for cement and helped rebuild some of the buildings. During the war, he helped with any aid he possibly could. And those stories really taught me how much he cared about the country. And when Armenia became independent, he immediately came here, left behind his business, what he was known for in the United States, and dedicated the next 30 years of his life to Armenia. So that really inspired me.
Now Armenia is still a developing country, and it's really interesting how foundation continues its initiatives and to find some solutions for current challenges, to mitigate also some other problems and issues that currently we have in Armenia.
Yes, and that's something that we've been very dedicated to since the beginning of Armenia's independence. And that's something that now, me being the third generation and seeing how my grandfather has done, the second generation has done, we would like to continue to do good work here and help develop the country.
As a vice president of the foundation, what is your responsibility right now?
Well, currently, my main responsibility has been to oversee our businesses in the U.S. So it's funny, similar to when my grandfather decided to leave and focus on Armenian philanthropy, he handed the business responsibility over to the second generation. And now we're in a similar place where now, me being 32 years old, I'm taking over the businesses, and my aunt Adil is focused primarily on philanthropy. So she's passing me the torch to continue to grow operations in the United States. But at the same time, I also want to be very involved in the foundation.
And as you mentioned, the foundation has impacted Armenian communities, both in Armenia and also in New Jersey. What's the most powerful mark it has left through its values and initiatives?
Mm-hmm. I would say Birthright Armenia has been our biggest success to this date. Seeing how much of an impact it has had, both here in Armenia and along with the diaspora globally. And I find one of the most inspiring things when I come here is meeting new Birthright alumni that have decided to permanently move to Armenia and call it their home. That truly is driving me to continue to carry, our legacy.
And generally saying, among your focus areas, education, healthcare, arts, ecotourism, youth, entrepreneurship, where have you seen the biggest wins in these sectors?
On the Armenia side, I would say it has to do with diaspora. I think we have made a big impact for Armenia to bring Armenians all over the world that may have not initially had a connection to the country, but have developed that over time. And so that's something we're very proud of, and we're going to continue to double and triple down on. And and continue our good work there.
I'm wondering, what criteria do you use to select partner organizations or initiatives that you would like to find to support?
Yeah, so we look for some basic things, like they must be a registered nonprofit organization. They must have been in operations for around 3 years. But we have an eligibility criteria on our website, which is hovnanianfoundation.org, which runs through the different criteria for both grants and fellowships that people can go visit and see if they're eligible.
And also, as I know, transparency is a key focus for the foundation. How does the foundation promote transparency, both internally and also financially and in the initiatives as well?
That's a great question. So externally, we're very transparent in terms of what we're funding. Every year we have an annual report, which we provide details of all the different initiatives, grants, fellowships, et cetera, that we fund both in the US and in Armenia. So we are very open. Internally, we like to hold our partners responsible in terms of they follow through on what they promised they would do. They provide some reporting so we can see that they're actually doing what they intended to do. And we think transparency is a good benchmark to set in Armenia, because there could be a lot more trust between Diaspora and Armenian in terms of philanthropy and where the money goes to. So we want to spearhead that initiative in providing that openness in the country.
And this foundation implements some projects in New Jersey, as you said. What are the key areas and key focuses in New Jersey, in Armenian community?
Well, my grandfather was initially a real estate developer, a home builder in New Jersey. And a lot of his success has been driven by that community welcoming an immigrant from Iraq and allowing him to build his business. So we contribute back to various universities, schools, hospitals, medical institutions, various needs in that area to give back as a way of appreciating what they've done for us.
And as you mentioned also in your speech, I've also, when I was reading about the guiding principles of the foundation, I found one important point here, that foundation tries to strengthen ties between diaspora and Armenia. How do you do that, and what's the vision here? So
initially there's a big misperception, I think, in the diaspora, what Armenia is truly like versus the reality on the ground. And so a way we solve that with Birthright Armenia is to do a more immersive, extended experience for these people coming to the country. They live with a host family, they volunteer locally, they work here, they speak the language, they stay up to a year. So they really get a feeling of what it's like to be in the country. And then we've continued that by expanding with AVC, which are for people that are outside the age of Birthright Armenia, to have a similar experience. And then we also have Repat Armenia, where we try to repatriate Armenians from all over the world to move themselves and their families and stay here permanently. So number one is we want to provide the reality of what it's like here in Armenia. And then we target different cohorts or areas of the Armenian population globally to get them to move to the country. Yeah, one of your guiding principles highlights also supporting repatriation from diaspora. Do you see any challenges here? Yeah, it's very difficult to ask somebody to move from their home country and go to Armenia when they have a wife, young children, and they don't know where they're going to live or work. And so the challenge is to convince them to make the decision to come here. And in order to do that, we want to provide as easy as an experience for them to come as possible. So we want them to have a nice place to live when they come here, have work opportunities, have their kids go to school and get acclimated to the culture. And so we are targeting all those different pieces of the pipeline in order to make it a much more easy experience for them to come here. What are the ways that you use to introduce Armenia to the diasporans, that they can come here, live here and work here and also support and boost the economy? Yeah. So initially, most of the diaspora wanted to stay in Yerevan. But we, over time, thought it may be a better experience for them to truly experience Armenia for what it used to be. Not only also in Yerevan, but also in other areas and provinces. Exactly. And so we've expanded our homestays and opportunities to many different cities and villages all around Armenia, in Gyumri, Vanatsor, Lori, all over. And so we've actually found that most people have responded very well to that. And actually now most of our birthright attendees would prefer to be outside of Yerevan than in the city.
And what is the current mission of the foundation, and has it been changed during the years, and what are the key focuses right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say it's been refined, it's been sharpened. Initially, my grandfather was incredibly philanthropic, but he was more reactive to whenever there was need. And now we are much more purposeful and strategic in the way we want to do our philanthropy. One of the main overarching missions that we have is connecting the diaspora to the Armenian country. And so through that, we've built institutions, as I've mentioned, Birthright, AVC, etc. And so we're a lot more purposeful and vision-driven in those terms. And going forward, we just want to continue to expand that work. We're keeping our eyes open for other opportunities. And we'll see where we go from there.
And how do you see the importance of investing professional skills and also financial supports in Armenia from diaspora, and to use them on a purpose in Armenia?
Right. Well, I'm a businessman, so I do think very financially first in certain times. I do think Armenia has a lot of need. And also could develop their economy a lot. So in terms of how the diaspora could help, excluding, let's say, nonprofit philanthropy, would be for more business investment, creating companies here, having local branches here. Like we see Service Titan has opened a nice big office here with a lot of employees. So continued business expansion here by the diasporan, which there are many successful all over the world, and to employ Armenians and teach them Western standards for business, and openness and transparency when it comes to that, I think would be a huge improvement in Armenia.
And as a vice president, do you want to make some changes from your part, like personally? How do you see further steps of the work of the foundation?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm humble enough to take it slowly and see where we go over the next decade. And I need to learn more about Armenia and how, the culture is and the direction we're heading and what the people need and want. And so I'm always learning. My eyes are open. And if there are opportunities which I think can be approved, then I'll implement them. But for right now, we're continuing what we're doing, and we'll see where we go from there.
And are there any specific initiatives and projects, goals regarding to Armenia in the future?
Well, right now we've implemented the Hovnanian Fellowship Program. This program allows mainly Armenians here to export their culture, their talents, their arts all over the world. So it may range from a researcher that has a very good research document that would want to present it in a forum, let's say in Europe. We'll sponsor them to go over there, present their paper. Or a chess player that wants to try to become a grandmaster. We'll support them in that venture. Pianists, etc. So it's very expansive, and we have had a lot of initial success. What we projected we would be spending on fellowships for 2025, we've already hit that in the first quarter. So we're very optimistic that program will continue to expand, and we're really excited to see where it goes from here.
And why did you choose to do a fellowship program?
We thought it was important, not only because our main mission is to bring the diaspora in here, but it's also important to bring Armenia to everybody else. And so we think there are so many talented Armenians here in all different fields that the world needs to see what a tiny country is capable of. And so we're really leaning into that mission as well.
Thank you for the interview and wish you success in your future initiatives.
Thank you.
Հարգելի հեռուստադիտողներ, հիշեցնեմ, որ ես զրուցում էի Հովնանյան ընտանեկան հիմնադրամի փոխնախագահ Գորր Սահակյանի հետ։ Կհանդիպենք։